Hello out there and welcome to Public Conscience. This is the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMORG. PRIMORG is a civil society group with a mandate to promote good governance, participation and accountability in Nigeria. I am Adaobi Obiabumo with Chidozie Ogbonnaya.
Welcome to the program.
On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. This program is supported by the MacArthur Foundation. And on today's program, we will be looking at the second phase of Constituency project tracking by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC.
ICPC in 2019 launched the pilot phase of the Constituency project tracking, in which it investigated projects performance from 2015 to 2019 in 12 states.
And then the second phase was built to cover 16 states of the Federation. Was also meant to focus on health, education, water resources, agriculture, and power sectors.
In July 2020, on this show, ICPC revealed that it recorded successes from the first phase of the exercise. Some of the accomplishments include recoveries of tractors, ambulances, dialysis machines, and other hospital equipment from sponsors of the project across the pilot states.
According to the Commission, the exercise also forced contractors who hitherto had abandoned projects to return to site and complete them. Regrettably, sources have it that the second phase of the exercise, which took off in June 2020, has been characterized by similar findings. To understand the nitty-gritty of the second phase of ICPC's constituency project tracking, we have the spokesperson of ICPC, Mrs. Azuka Ogugwa, in the studios. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
We also have in the studio Jibo Suleiman, the Assistant Commissioner, Constituency and Executive Project Tracking. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start off with Mrs. Azuka Ogugwa. Would like you to give us an overview of the second phase of the tracking of the constituency project and also share the remarkable parts of your findings.
Thank you very much. The second phase was conducted in 16 states, like you mentioned, and the states are Abia and Ebonyi in the southeast, Cross River States, Delta and Rivers in the south-south, Ekiti, Ogun and Oyo in the southwest, Kwara, Niger and Nasarawa in north-central, Gombe and Taraba in the northeast, and Kaduna, Kebbi and Jigawa states in the northwest. So you can see that we try to cover more area than in the first phase. So those are the states that we are working on. We, just like the first phase, we deployed a set of trackers made up of ICPC staff, media, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and some CSOs to do the tracking exercise in these states. As to the findings, some of our findings, well, I'll give it to Mr. Jimo.
Oh,
Okay, thank you for having us. With regard to findings, if you compare what we have now to what we had during the phase one, it's a little bit mind-boggling. I will look at the findings in two perspectives, positive and negative. Compared to phase one, we discover that more projects were well executed. We should give it to them. More projects were well executed during this phase. And we have both MDAs and sponsors whose projects conform to specification. We single them out and we comment them. Agencies that were earlier rebooked in the first phase, most of them now conformed. First of all, maybe by doing what we asked them to do. Some agency during the first phase, we discovered that they did not take care with regard to the items supply. But this time around, they label those items as being funded by federal government, not individual legislators.
Was there contract splitting also? Because the first phase...
Okay, the first phase, the second phase now, let me just explain. When we selected the project, we selected 150 projects. 150 projects. But by the time we started getting documents from the MDAs, pouring through all those documents, we discovered that those projects, those 150 projects, now metamorphosed into 700 over 700 projects.
Wow, because this first phase you also tracked 424 projects in 12 states, and now the projects are 722 projects in the 16 states. We had rather 2 teams in Kwara State because of the volume of projects we tracked in Kwara. So with regard to the negative findings, I would say, first of all, lack of needs assessment before projects are cited in communities. We've seen where projects, 2 projects of the same value, for the same sector, cited in the same community. They don't need it. That is one. Another one is that there is no synergy between an outgoing legislator and incoming one. For example, if legislator A has a domicile project for maybe construction of dam in a community, if he loses election, the incoming legislator will not take that as priority. In spite of the funding or money that government must have spent on such project, he will look for some other project. No continuity. In I think Katsina State, was it Katsina? Yeah. The outgoing legislator wanted to empower his people by giving them fertilizers, but he lost election at the point of maybe distribution. He wasn't interested any longer. So the new legislator came in, was not even aware that such had been provided. It was while we were on the field, our trackers now discovered that there were bags of fertilizers in warehouse of the MDA. We said, where did you get this? Why didn't you distribute these bags of fertilizer? Over 2,000. So they now told us this was what happened. So we quickly recovered those fertilizers. We have the MDAs to take it to the appropriate states, and eventually we involved the new legislator and it was distributed. That is another one. We also find that projects were cited on private properties of sponsors. Just like what you discovered in the first
phase.
Purchase of was not supplied to the people, but the
we've seen where projects vehicles were bought and they were converted to personal use. We see sometimes there's what we call round tripping of empowerment items. I can explain this.
Please do.
Okay. The project is inserted. For example, okay, you want motorcycles for your communities, maybe 500 or 1,000. The process was on. They were bought. Instead of distributing it, they were not distributed. They were just kept until the following year, where the same was inserted into a budget of another MDA. So what will now happen was that they will just find a way of maybe getting the money for that, now distributing the one they had earlier. So we call that one round tripping.
When you found this out, what did you do?
Definitely, we recover them. Then we are in the process of eventually prosecuting those who committed that infraction. The MDAs and those who supervise and those who did whatever they was not supposed to do. Then we also have what we call using personal company to execute projects. That means that they did not go through the whole log of procurement process. So underperformance of projects is an infraction on the project year 2007. So we've seen that conspiracy between sponsors, aides, and contractors. Sometimes, from what we have seen, sometimes the sponsors themselves may not know. But the sponsors, they have their legislative aides. So the MDAs, the contractors, and whatever, you find out that they were the one trying to do whatever, all these infractions. Some of them are from these aides and contractors.
Are you trying to say the legislators are not aware of what is
happening? From our findings now, some of them are not aware. So, for example, a project for distribution of butterfly
Sewing
machine in the budget, but when they were buying it, they didn't buy butterfly, they bought body fly in lower quality. Okay, so what the legislature will do, these are the items, we just sign off, not knowing that there was a connivance between the aides and those who are supplying. These are the things we saw, and eventually we will make recoveries on all those projects. And contractor over invoicing, all this we saw while we were doing this second phase of the tracking exercise.
Okay, Jimo, you have reviewed a lot of things here. You said earlier that they are quite mind-boggling, and so looking at the ICPC's mandate as an anti-graft agency, how will you rate this second phase tracking of the constituency projects? Success-wise.
Yes, success-wise, I will say yes, we have done well, and the communities too, they have done well. You know, I will want to take you back to the first phase because of the awareness created with what we did in the first phase. Everybody in the community were waiting for us. That okay, they were writing reports, giving us petitions against whoever has not done well in their local area. One of the things that we saw was that most of these projects that we thought they would not do well, they did them well. That was why we eventually commended some of the sponsors. Project on which contractor returned to sites. I think we have about 59. Yeah.
59 projects.
59 projects. Project on which we gave commendation to the sponsors or the MD or those who supervise those projects. We have 39. This is positive on our own part. We know that this is good. If we continue like this, then in the next few years, this accountability and transparency we are looking at will be there.
But you said 39 and 59 projects
that
you commended the legislators.
Yeah.
Out of 726 projects that were tracked.
Okay, let me come again. When you talk 722, we are still in the field. This report is still called interim. We have not concluded. So that is why the monitors, our trackers are still on the field tracking projects, especially now executive projects. So in the first phase, we didn't have such commendation. We didn't give such commendation to any agency, but now we see that there's a little bit of improvement. So we should commend.
We must also commend ICPC for doing the great job that you're doing. That brings me to the third question. After ICPC's first phase of tracking of constituency projects, on the show, you told us that you widened projects. You did mention executive projects. Now, we'd like you to tell us more about that.
Yeah. The first phase, only constituency projects. But we thought that we shouldn't just do only constituency projects. Again, people were talking that, are we being partial? Or is it that maybe we are focusing on some set of people? But the commission said no. Nigeria is for everybody. So that was why the commission decided to take in the executive project to widen the scope.
Okay.
And agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, water resources, all those sectors, we focus on them with regards to executive projects too. The executive project we track were about 220 something projects under executive projects.
Go below 100 million naira.
Okay.
Did that happen?
It happened in another way. It wasn't on the tracking on the selected projects, but when we get information or we get petitions, even if it is 2 million, we had to swing into action and track such projects. There are some projects that are below 100 million, below 50 million that we track, but they were not selected based on this CPTI project.
You did mention that some of the contractors went back to site. Could you tell us in specific terms which states?
In almost all the states, contractors went back to site.
The details of the project.
I can't give you the details, but let me just speak around the.
Please do.
There was a project in Kwara. construction of classrooms, desks. The contractor was supposed to build, I think, 9,000 or something like that. It only 9,000
School chairs.
school chairs, and they only built or constructed 7,000, remaining 2,500, and everybody stopped. Nobody knew what happened. But when we got there, our people evaluated what was in the bill and counted each chairs that were constructed. They now saw that okay, there was about 2,500 that were not constructed. So they invited the contractor, and he went up. He came back. He started reconstruction. So our people are still there monitoring and keeping them, such that maybe in the next few weeks we'll go back there and redistribute those table and chairs to the beneficiaries.
How do you enlighten citizens who are the end users of this to contribute to also track projects in their constituency and report back to ICPC?
Well, that is part of what we are doing here, and then we have other platforms. Basically, we have town hall meetings. We have held town hall meetings in 26 states, mobilizing women groups, CSOs, youth groups, churches, mosques, every Nigerian, getting them together to say, this is your project. Look into your project, supervise your project, monitor your project, own your project. That the legislator is not there does not mean you allow the project to fall to pieces. That's one of the ways we do. We have jingles, radio jingles, television jingles, then the social media platforms. Our social media handles on Twitter at ICPC_PE. We use it to mobilize the public. We also have CSO partners who lead people, show people who are also tracking with us, and show people this is a project nominated by this legislator, this is a project, and people are following up on each and every one of those projects. The community ownership is much more this time than we had it in the first instance.
The consciousness is
there. The consciousness is there. The followership is there. Those on social media are calling their legislators to answer them there on the platforms. What are you doing? They say this thing is our project and it was not done. What happened? And the legislators are answering. So that is the thing. We are out there in the public, massively mobilizing people, raising their consciousness to speak out about their constituency projects.
Assuming in the rural community, let's take Imo State, one of those villages there, and I heard your jingle. How do I know the constituency project that is being voted to my constituency? Very good.
You can always call us, ICPC, toll free, without any cost to you. You can call on 0800 2255 4272. That is 0800 is 12 digits. 0800 2255 4272. When you call ICPC, you can ask, I am from this community, this local government, this legislative zone or legislative area. Please, what are the constituency projects that are voted to my area? And we will give you, because we have up to 2019 constituency projects between 2015 and 2019, those ones that we are monitoring. We have them so that our operatives on the toll-free lines can check immediately and let you know the constituency projects and the communities. They will tell you everything and the amount. So it's easy for everybody to get information.
12-digit number, unlike the number we know, the regular number, that is 11-digit. This
0800 call ICPC. That's actually what it is. 2255 4272.
Okay. 0800 2255 4272.
Yes.
0800 call ICPC. Mr. Jima, I'll direct this to you. How much money have you, the ICPC, recovered so far?
It will be difficult for me to say now, in the sense that our trackers are still on the field. Maybe by the next 2 weeks, by this third week of this month, we'll call them back.
Have an idea?
I don't want to hazard guesses, but I can tell you properties that have been recovered. You can now put an idea into the cost of those property. If I say maybe it's maybe 3 billion we have recovered now, and maybe when our people now come and we now tally everything, it becomes maybe 5 billion. That data will not be complete. With regard to what we have recovered, we recover 2 rigs in Taraba, 1,078 water pumps somewhere else. Hillocks and Volkswagen, we recover them. 2,300 bags of fertilizer, we recover them. We recover transformers, sewing machines, water treatment plants in people's farm. We recover them. Television, fridges, bed and beddings, 57 units of computers, and 19 units of generators.
Were you able to track trainings?
Yeah, that's a capacity building project. We did that too. Definitely, people are still sponsors are still embedding capacity building into as projects. We track them, and when we see that, okay, for example, a capacity building that was supposed to be done for maybe 500 people with 100 million as contract sum, you discover that it's only 100 people that enjoyed that capacity building. So where's the remaining money
For the others.
So definitely we have to recover the remaining part of the money that was not used, and we did all those. We recover such money.
Obviously, the capacity building aspect is not easy for you to, very easy to crack.
It's not that it's, we have, when we go to agencies, we request for documents. Definitely the documents are there. We track the documents. The only problem we usually have is that a sponsor will say, yes, I've trained 100 people. Then you cannot get those 100 people to come and say, okay, yes, they were trained.
Okay, you are going to tell us more about the challenges, but for the listener out there, remember to follow us on our social media platforms at Official Primorg. Primorg is once again spelled Primorg, and you can watch our videos on Primorg TV, which is our YouTube channel.
Please subscribe to get reminders whenever we have a new post, and remember that this program is interactive on WhatsApp, and the number to send your message to is 0902 265 6167, and this number is for messages only. I want to ask you, how much do you know about your constituency project, and have you been tracking constituency projects near you? Mr. Jimo, you're the one on the field.
Okay.
He was supposed to finish his thoughts on, we're on a thought, Mr. Jimo, about
challenges
in tracking these projects, particularly those who are trying to hide.
Okay, let me start by saying that these projects, this second phase was supposed to have been commenced by February this year, between February and March, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we couldn't do anything. We waited and waited, praying that this pandemic will go away. But as it continued to drag on, we had to do something. So we sat down, we designed our template, and we moved into the states to do whatever needed to be done. One of the challenges was movement, how to move. Though ICPC officials did not have a problem of movement. Movement between states or from Abuja to all the tracking area was a little bit difficult. You want to meet contractors, the contractor will give you excuse that due to COVID-19, you could not come. Okay? Yeah. You want to meet somebody who will give you more information, they will use this COVID-19 as excuses. But by and large, we find ways around it. We compel them to come. Sometimes we give them pass. It's okay, you have to come. And eventually they came. This also gave us another problem, because sometimes you have prepared to be in state A with your trackers doing the needful. You expect the MDA to send people to come and validate what we have seen on ground. They will not come. So you have to now compel them to come. And when you compel them, that means that you are spending more money. Instead of you to stay in one place, to be in one place for maybe 10 days, you are forced to stay in such a place for maybe for 15 or 20 days. It costs money. With regard to maybe people trying to hide files or documents, definitely that will happen. But being ICPC, our officials know how to go around such a problem. That is not a bigger problem. That's not a big problem, rather.
Good to know that you're able to surmount the challenges of COVID-19 and moving around. But there have been several recoveries of cash and equipment, which you just told us here in the course of tracking this constituency project. What is ICPC doing extra to make contractors and individuals mismanaging constituency projects to pay for their bids?
Now, the first thing we did as a commission was to engage the MDA themselves. They are the one awarding contracts to contractors, so that if you fall foul of the law, this is what will happen to you. There's no two way about it. And we requested them to pass through this down to the contractors. That is one. The second one is that punitive measure. I think that's the best to say to allow to show the contractor that if one of them is punished, other ones will take caution and they behave. Contractors are compelled to pay back the money they had mismanaged or they didn't spend on the projects. That is one aspect. The second aspect is you now go further. We prosecute. When you are prosecuted or your profile as a company is set to FIRS for tax profiling,
like how many contractors have been punished in recent times?
When you say punished, ICPC does not punish. ICPC takes contractors to court. It is court that decides. Aside from tracking, when we do the tracking and we have seen that these contractors are falling foul of the law, we don't just go to court like that. There's now another thing to do. We now really sit down and look at the documents very, because when you go to court and because you have recovered money or you have done small investigation, you take somebody to court. Court can decide to throw the case. So you have to sit down. It takes time. You have to sit down, look at the pros and cons, then take contractors to court. There are so many.
So I'm saying, looking at lots of infractions or monies recovered, people you've taken to court, do we have any number to say, okay, we have now this person that this company
we don't need.
Okay, or the court.
It's the court that
the court, because when the court found them wanting, you take the glory.
That takes time, and you cannot compare the courts to align with the time. You can't give a court a timeline. It depends. And again, investigation takes time. You can't just say, okay, under maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. It takes time. You start discovering so many things. You have to wait until you fully discover what really happened before you say, okay, go to court. Because if you go to court and your cases are thrown out, that means that you are not competent enough.
Do you have any list of one person that has been sent?
I won't mention names here. It's not, by our law, we shouldn't do that. Mentioning names of contractor or somebody's name.
Okay,
just to people, Nigerians are happy when they hear this person has been prosecuted.
But we have reports, we have documents that people can access.
If you get on our website, you see this report. The soft copy is there. You can read it. You can find the areas where we had these issues, some of the findings, and you can follow up on them. They are not hidden. We are not even here to hide people. We are not here hiding anybody. We are not, but investigations take time, and trackers don't investigate. I don't know whether you understand. When they go to the field to track, they track. If there are things that they need to do further investigations on, they send it back to our investigation team. That's a different team. And of course, if they find infractions, it goes to the legal team. That is a different case. So we are not here to go into all
within the trackers group to have an investigator that's also.
But when they go to track, they go to track. And when they make their findings, they come back and report. This is the report of the findings. Further action is taken as investigated. And in many cases, prosecution takes time. It takes money too. Sometimes the aim is to make sure the service is delivered to the people, not just to take somebody to court and you spend millions prosecuting a case. No, get the service. That is our aim, to get the services to the grassroots. So when that aim is accomplished, then there might not be no need to go further on that. So there are different strategies we take for different cases. That is just about that.
Jimo, you did mention that in a particular constituency there were 2 projects cited in that constituency. That means there was no need assessment.
At all.
So now, okay, let's take this call. Hello?
Hello.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Okay, I'm calling from Airport Road in Abuja.
Let's hear you.
Okay, I'm a bit confined with the question you asked them and then how they are saying the law stops them from answering and all of that. I don't think you're asking them to mention any names. You say how many people have been prosecuted. Can they tell us, 5 people have been prosecuted in the last 1 year, out of the 5, 3 have been successfully prosecuted or something? Can they give us those numbers? We don't need to mention any names. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And
They just want to know the numbers, even if you don't give us the names of
No,
those
we
that have been prosecuted.
we don't have the numbers to give. That's just the fact. We didn't come prepared with the numbers of those that have been prosecuted to give. When we prosecute cases, we even write the news reports and circulate on our cases. So we didn't come with the numbers, but people are being prosecuted. Okay, right now let me give you an example. We recently sent out a news release about a legislator, a House of Reps member, who has been charged to court for allegedly collecting a bribe from a contractor. It's in the public domain. He's a member of the House of Reps, current serving member. Okay, so that is an example. That is the one I can easily say off my head because it's a matter of a couple of weeks ago. If you come with the numbers, we have done 10. We have prosecuted 10. I don't know what to achieve.
Well, Nigerians are curious. Nigerians are...
No, but our news, if you go on our Twitter handle, on our social Facebook, Instagram page, that news is there. It's very current and it's very hot. So Nigerians can also do that little research and find out. In this report that we have here, we mentioned some senatorial district where some of the infractions were found. Kebbi South Central Senatorial District, this one, Jigawa Southwest Senatorial District. We mentioned Taraba South Senatorial District. So these are information that is in the public domain. These are where infractions are found, and this is the report of the tracking. So it's not the report of our prosecution.
The report of the
Tracking, this is the report of the tracking with infractions found, and the senatorial districts where they were found is all here. And it's not only because it's not just senators that we tracked, senatorial projects. It's just that senatorial projects are mostly the ones that are 100 million and above.
But why can't we include the prosecution in this report?
No, because this is a constituency project, an executive project tracking report.
So there will be
So when we are doing ICPC general report contains different things. So this report, what we are here to discuss is the tracking exercise, not our process. If we are talking about general ICPC achievements, activities, we will have come with our 2019 report and giving you what we did in 2019, which cuts across different areas, not just from the constituency and the executive project tracking.
I think we should have that conversation.
Yes, we can have that conversation.
Yes.
Because Nigerians are eager to when they see
how many people are jailed.
They are happy that ICPC they are in the studio. You get all the information, get all the people who are supposed to be behind bars today. It's an anti-graft agency.
Mr. Jimo, we found out that from what you just said, that different projects were cited in one constituency. That means there was no needs assessment. Now, how do we get citizens to make their input into this project and budgeting?
All right, ICPC has a program called the Grassroots Engagement on Budget Processes. We started this program since 2007 to 2013, and we'll be running it periodically. What we do is to educate the grassroots. They have a role to play in budget processes. They have a role to play in saying what they need and mentioning these needs to their legislators, and we train them on the need to take their needs. We had situations in the past where legislators and the local government chairmen and everybody, they want to say, we want to build this for you, and they say we don't need this, we'd rather have, maybe you want to cite a primary health care hospital and they already have one, and meanwhile floods are disturbing them, and say, can you build drainages for us instead? Now that is needs assessment. In a way, the community people usually feel they don't know what is going on, but we had a series of training where we try to make them aware, be involved, be aware. Don't just sit down and look. If not, they will build you markets when you need schools. They will build you gutters when you don't need them. They will nominate dams when you don't have rivers. So you need to be involved in the entire process of budget planning, budget execution, budget implementation, and then budget monitoring. That leads us to this constituency project. This phase, this year we called it constituency and executive projects tracking. Constituency projects are usually domiciled in executive MDAs. So local government level, state government level, you need to be aware of what is going on. Citizens should not just be aware, they should participate. So once they participate in nominating a project, we want this, and you give us, we don't have maternity here, and you give us a maternity, so we don't have, then they're happier instead of building market stalls. So these are the things we want citizens to know. And
like
in Kwara,
before you add,
okay,
because you are the man on the field, how much awareness, how aware are people out there?
Yes, I think
in this
with the result of phase one, people are now more aware, such that when our people get to states, they are met with so many people that have been waiting for them, either to give them information to supply petitions. So the awareness, I think, is there. With regard to my constituency, my project awareness creation we did last year, early this year.
Yes,
people are waiting for us, such that even now in the office you see so many petitions, so many reports against some certain legislators who have either not done anything or who have done something shoddily. That triggers some that yes, people are now coming up and say yes, this thing is working. If it is not working, people will not be calling us, people will not be writing petitions or making reports with regard to this constituency project. To me, it is working and people are aware.
So the level of petitions have
scaled up,
and that is interesting. When citizens are aware and they are involved in governance and everything, we are happy because it is just the way to go.
And like Mrs. Azuka said, the citizens should mobilize themselves in their constituency and make sure that their needs are well captured by these legislators.
Let me quickly give one example here. In Kwara State, I think Oro in a record local government, there was a maternity health center.
Just
very
okay. Let's take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is George, calling from Gwamagana.
Let's hear you, please.
You're talking about the citizens who involve themselves on the constituency project. How? Madam, how? Everything in Nigeria has been politicized. Everything down to the local government. Everything. You cannot have a voice if you're not in the ruling party. You can't. And you're talking about projects. Okay. Do you know that I have a House of Rep member under my constituency? He's not even within a motion. I don't even know what he's there for. He's just there putting his own personal interest. And we're talking about nothing is working in this country. Nothing is working.
You can't say nothing is working.
Madam, nothing. Down to the grassroots, nothing.
That's his own submission.
That's his own submission. You see, it's easier to blame somebody else rather than ourselves. When you are in a local community, you yourself, you don't engage. Manna will not come from heaven. If he's engaged in maybe local development, CSO with his people, they can come up and say, okay, let us go and meet our councillors, let us meet our chairman, let us scale it up, let us meet our legislators. If you don't do that and you keep quiet and you think somebody in Abuja or somebody from Lagos or somebody, a certain leader will do something which you ought to have done initially, nobody will do that. Everybody must be accountable from the beginning. Let us, in our own local area, sometimes the people who point accusing fingers at some other person, they will never point accusing finger at themselves. Who is the leader? We are all leaders in our various homes. We should get engaged. Nobody will force us to get engaged. We are the one that needs something, and we are the one that's supposed to look for what we need. If you feel that your senator, your representative is not doing well, why don't you bring people in the locality to go and talk to him?
Yeah.
You don't expect him. He doesn't see you. He may not see you until the next 4 years when he needs your vote. So, and when he needs your vote, if he has not done well, you don't vote for him. That shows that yes, you have done something. But if he has not done well and you still vote for him, you can't blame anybody. You can't say things are not working.
Obviously, we must not take a back seat when it comes to engagement.
Correct.
But
we can accommodate one or two constituencies before you conclude.
Madam Azuka, I do believe that Nigerians would love to see more people brought to book in terms of people who have committed one form of fraud or the other with regards to constituency projects.
Yes.
What hope is ICPC going to give us this morning?
Well, more people will be brought to book. Like I said, maybe at a later conversation we'll bring some reports of some cases. We'll come with our legal team and they will let you know, because they will be able to synthesize the cases. These are cases arising from constituency projects. These are cases from this other issue. Then so many cases, so many areas. So they can at least let us have a sample of the cases we are taking.
Let's take this. Hello. Please go ahead.
I think the constituency project examination by the ICPC will be more effective if the officers that certify those projects that has not been done well, as haven't been done well, and the contractor paid, should be prosecuted along.
Okay.
Sometimes they are under pressure, but when they know that nothing will happen to them, they easily bound to the pressure. But if they know that something is going to happen to them, they will not. So I'm speaking from experience, because I was in the service, I was in the procurement, so I know what goes on there.
So what will be the place of the citizens in engaging with their reps? Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. What should citizens do?
The citizens should organize themselves and own the project. Because if you leave the thing to the politicians and civil servants, excuse me.
Sorry, go ahead.
You will discover that your money will be achieved. There is a project that is assigned to my parents' village.
Why is that?
The waterside local government.
Okay.
Right. We have created a platform that those at home will be given information and will be given direction and will be monitoring it from Abuja. We have to own the project. Citizens should own the project in their community.
Yes.
Can I quickly respond to that?
Thank you.
They will have themselves to be blamed for their backwardness of their area.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Briefly, in response to that, what we do when we discover that some civil servants pass off projects that have not been done as being done, we quickly write letters to head of service of the federation to interdict them, to give administrative sanction against them. That is in the first instance before prosecution will begin. That's what we have been doing.
Okay.
All right. All the questions noted, all the comments noted, and we'll get back to you on their comments and their observations.
Okay. That's
I'm happy the person himself was saying communities should be involved. That is engagement. And so I will say it once again, 0800-2255-4272. 0800, call ICPC, CALL ICPC. That number you will call toll free. Tell us anything about constituency projects. Ask us any question about your constituency project and we'll answer you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Josie.
Please visit the news page of our website, news.primork.org. That is news.primork.org. To get all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, primork.org, to get all the information about Primork.
And we sincerely appreciate our guests, the spokesperson of the ICPC, Azuka Ogubwa.
Thank you.
And also Mr. Jimo Suleiman, the acting assistant commissioner, constituency and executive project tracking.
Thank you
so much for
having us here this morning.
Public Conscience is supported by the John T. and Catherine V. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfound.org.
So do join us here again next week for another episode of Public Conscience. And remember to follow us on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Official Primork. I am Chidozie Ogunaya.
If you want to find out about your constituency project, is 0800, call ICPC, which translates into 0800-2255-4272, or you could reach them on their social media handle at ICPC_PE, or you can send us a message at info@primork.org, or you could call 09022656167. Good governance is a two-way approach. The duty bearers have their own responsibilities, while the citizens have their own responsibilities too. We should all get involved in the democratic process. I am Adaobi Obiabomo.